In the nation's capital, where politics and power dominate every conversation, a different kind of voice was about to emerge. Dave Chappelle was born in 1973 to politically active parents. His father was a professor at Antioch College. His mother worked for the Congolese Prime Minister. This unique upbringing would later inform his razor-sharp social commentary. Growing up, Dave found his heroes not in politicians, but in comedians. Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor became his North Stars, showing him how comedy could be both hilarious and profound. By age 14, while his peers were navigating high school hallways, Dave was navigating something far more daunting: the stand-up comedy circuit of Washington, D.C. You'd see this kid come in, barely old enough to drive, but he had something special. The way he could read a room, you can't teach that. After high school, Chappelle made the bold decision to reject a spot at prestigious art school and instead move to New York City. The year was 1991, and the New York comedy scene was about to meet its new prince. In New York, Chappelle honed his craft in legendary venues like the Boston Comedy Club and the Comedy Cellar. Fellow comedians quickly recognized they were watching something special develop. A fellow comedian of Chappelle's said, "Dave had this way of making the hardest rooms look easy. He could talk about anything and make it funny." And another praises him with, "What set him apart was how he could make everyone laugh while saying something important. That's rare." Success came quickly. By his early 20s, Chappelle was appearing on HBO's Def Comedy Jam and landing small roles in films, but Hollywood success proved complicated. His 1998 film Half-Baked, which he co-wrote, received mixed reviews but became a cult classic. Yet Chappelle felt pigeonholed by the industry's expectations. Then came the moment that would change everything. In 2003, Chappelle's show premiered on Comedy Central. The show was revolutionary. It tackled race, celebrity, politics, and pop culture with unprecedented fearlessness. Sketches like Clayton Bigsby, Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories, and The Racial Draft became instant classics. The success was staggering. The show's DVD became the best-selling TV series box set of all time. Chappelle had achieved what seemed impossible: complete creative freedom and massive commercial success. Then, at the height of his success, everything changed. During the filming of Season 3, with a $50 million contract on the table, Chappelle disappeared. His retreat to South Africa sparked endless speculation. Was it a breakdown? A principled stand? A rejection of fame? Chappelle said of this time, "The hardest thing to do is to be true to yourself, especially when everybody's watching." For nearly a decade, Chappelle largely stayed away from the spotlight, making only occasional appearances at comedy clubs. But the legend of Dave Chappelle only grew. When he returned to mainstream comedy in the mid-2010s, he entered a transformed landscape. Social media had changed how we consume and critique comedy. Cancel culture had become a hot-button issue. His Netflix specials marked a triumphant return, earning both massive viewership and intense debate. One Chappelle supporter said it perfectly: "He's saying what everyone's thinking, but afraid to say." While another critic says, "His material on certain communities crosses the line from comedy to harm." And still, academics have another view, saying Chappelle represents a larger debate about comedy's role in society. Today, Chappelle remains both beloved and controversial. His specials continue to draw millions of viewers while also sparking heated debates about comedy's boundaries. His shows sell out instantly, even as they sometimes draw protesters. He's won Mark Twain prizes and Emmy Awards while also facing calls for boycotts. What's undeniable is Chappelle's evolution from a teenage comedian to a voice that helps define the cultural conversation. His journey mirrors America's own struggles with race, free speech, and identity. Now in his 50s, Chappelle shows no signs of stepping back from the microphone. His recent work continues to mix personal stories with social commentary, though the reactions remain as divided as ever. A young comedian states, "Whether you agree with him or not, you have to respect his willingness to say what he believes." And a veteran comedian obviously agrees, saying, "Dave changed the game. Comedy before and after Chappelle are two different things." Looking ahead, Chappelle's influence seems likely to grow more complex. As society grapples with questions of free speech, offense, and artistic freedom, his work becomes a lightning rod for larger cultural debates. Some see him as comedy's last truth teller, willing to challenge any orthodoxy. Others view him as increasingly out of touch with evolving social values. Both perspectives miss the larger point. Chappelle's career represents comedy's power to provoke not just laughter, but serious discussion about who we are and who we want to be. In the end, Dave Chappelle's legacy defies simple categorization. He's a comedian who made us laugh while making us think, a storyteller who broke boundaries while setting new standards, and an artist who reminded us that the best comedy does more than entertain. It makes us question our assumptions about ourselves and our world. As the debates around his work continue, one thing remains clear: Dave Chappelle's voice, whether you celebrate or criticize it, has become an essential part of America's cultural conversation. What role should comedy play in addressing society's most sensitive issues? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into comedy's most influential voices.